Hello everybody, Chris here, and today I'm starting something new. You guys absolutely loved Breakdown series. Everybody's been saying such nice things in the comments, how much you learned about the game because of those, and it's just such a nice feeling that the information you share around actually helps somebody. So I was thinking, we need an extension to that series. Breakdown teaches you about a lot of different aspects of the game, but doesn't really set you up for it. There is still a big question mark here. Where should I start? If you choose to play a teen, how do I know which weapon to craft? Trust me, they all seem really fun, but they're not all beginner friendly, because some weapons are an instant kill, they're much harder to use, and until you get used to the mechanics of the game, maybe it's not the smartest choice to craft that type of weapon. The next question would be, if I decide to play a monster, which one should I play? There's 3 of them already out, we're gonna be getting more in the early access, then that leads us to mutations and so forth and so forth. There's still a ton of things we need to go through. Of course, we still can't answer all of them because we don't have all the information on mutations, on weapon mods. We're missing a lot of pieces, but we can start somewhere, and whenever we get more info, I can make a YouTube video on it. Okay, enough chit chat, this intro was long enough as it is. Let's start off with the weapons. I'm gonna be covering each category throughout a separate video, so why don't we start off with shock. You already know the 3 weapons we have, we covered it in the Breakdown series, but I'm gonna go over it again. Raygun, RC Fyler, and Shock Sphere. If you look from left to right, it goes from easiest to hardest to use, but they balance it out pretty nicely. The easiest weapon to use is the hardest one to kill with, and harder it is to use the weapon, the easier it is to kill the monster with it. With Raygun, you will obviously have to use multiple shots to banish the monster, while with Shock Sphere, you will one-shot it. I know a lot of people are thinking, do they then start with Shock Sphere? Probably not. Let's take a step back. We all know that crafting time for Raygun is 42 seconds and you get 28 shots with it. Now, I really don't know how many shots exactly you need to banish the monster. I tried to figure it out, but I still haven't. That is my bad. But I would say it's anywhere between 6 and 10 consecutive shots. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me down below. But that's off the point right now. We're not talking about how many shots you need. We just know that it's fairly easy to use, but it's not easy to land so many consecutive shots because the monster can literally go behind the corner and reset the whole thing. And then you just have to go back and do it over again. Now, this is what we know about RC Fyler. It takes 42 seconds to craft, and you get 55 seconds of flying with it. We already mentioned there is no ammo limit, you only have the battery life, which lasts 55 seconds. RC Fyler is definitely harder to use. I feel like there has to be a lot of communication with your team so they can let you know where exactly the monster is, there has to be pinging and stuff. But from what I've seen so far, RC Fyler is still relatively easy to use compared to some other, let's call them level 2 weapons in some other categories like Slingshot. So when it comes to these 2 weapons, RC Fyler and Raygun, which should I craft first? If this is my first game and I decide to go for a shock weapon, honestly, if you've already seen how RC Fyler works for the gameplay, I would maybe even go for RC Fyler, because why not? In this scenario, it will probably be more up to you and what you're more comfortable with. If you want to fly around a helicopter toy and kill the monster with that, go for the RC Fyler. If you want the gun, use Raygun. I feel like with both of them, you can get adjusted pretty quickly. But I will mention that I still think Raygun has a slightly lower learning curve, so keep that in mind. Oh, and yeah, I mentioned in the Breakdown series that you can get attacked when you're using RC Fyler, but somebody actually commented on that video saying that they talked to developers and that you can get attacked, which kind of does balance out the RC Fyler because you don't have to hide your body. And that brings us to the last one on the list, and oh my lord, is this a tricky one? Shock Sphere. It takes 27 seconds to craft, you have 22 seconds of use. Once you set up for the use, it will take a little bit of time where you're charging it up and you will be exposed during that time, so keep that in mind. And once you charge it up, you start flying and slowly accelerating. On the impact with the monster, while using Shock Sphere, you will instantly kill it. Keeping in mind that you only have 22 seconds of use, you have to charge up away from the monster because, as we said, you are exposed while charging it up and you can get hit. So you want to avoid that at any cost. You have to charge up away from the monster, and once you do, you start emitting this loud noise, which basically disables you from hearing the monster. And sound in this game is the biggest clue you got. So tracking the monster is already hard as it is. Unless somebody pings you and know the exact location can lead you to them, it's really tricky. And even when you do, landing a hit is not easy as it seems. And on top of that, some monsters will be able to deflect your attacks, like W.A.R.T using his armor. If he armors up, you hit him, you lose the weapon and nothing happens weapons to W.A.R.T, so you basically wasted a whole weapon. I think we all figured out how hard it's gonna be to use Shock Sphere, so I would definitely not suggest you start off here. I've seen a lot of developers with 1000+ hours use Shock Sphere, but they do have 1000+ hours, which means you have time to get adjusted to the mechanics, by the way, which they made. They also made the map, so they know everything about this game. And knowing your way around the map will be a huge factor with using Shock Sphere. I would say that you should at least get adjusted to the mechanics of the game first. Maybe first play a couple dozen rounds, and then once you're fully adjusted to the whole thing, already figure out maps to some degree, then craft your first Shock Sphere. Have fun with it, because this is not a weapon you're gonna get good with just by playing the game and learning the maps and learning the mechanics. You will have to use it over and over and over again until you get good with it. But it's gonna be up to you. If you want to craft Shock Sphere right from the get-go, you can. At the end of the day, it's gonna be your decision. You do what you want, but I'm just trying to share some information here. Maybe educate you a little bit so you have a smarter approach to the game once it's out. Okay, so for today's question, which weapon in Shock category will you craft first? I feel like there's gonna be a lot of Shock Sphere comments. And yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, or just want to share something, the comment section is wide open, use it as you will. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider hitting that like button, it really does help a lot. And if you don't want to miss out on any future videos that I'll be posting, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. All that being said, wishing you all a beautiful evening, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. See you.